Since it has been a very long time since I've made one of these, and since I've made a video in general, I'm going to make it extra long. I actually have more than 2 books this time. I actually have 8 books that I'm going to read. I'm going to do half of them in a soft-spoken voice and half in a whispered voice, an up-close whispered voice. But these books aren't like super long. They're kind of shorter. That's why I picked 8 of them. And actually, the theme, I guess, of this week's, this week, as if I do these every week, of this video, is kind of a special, I guess. One of my subscribers asked for me to read The Velveteen Rabbit, so I'm actually going to be reading that. But as I searched through my books, I realized I had so many books about rabbits and bunnies in general, so I found all of the books I have about rabbits and bunnies, and that's what I'm going to be reading today. I'm going to be reading them all to you as a little treat for me not doing this in a long time. And like I said, I have 8 of them. Some of them are kind of really short and like childish and toddlerish, but I just grabbed all of them, and I'm going to do that for you guys today. So yeah, I guess we can just get on started since I've rambled for almost 7 minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, so like I said, I have 8. I would have had 9. Actually, if you guys remember the first video I did, I read a book called Lunch Bunnies, and that's another book about rabbits. I don't know why I have so many. Anyways, okay. So I'll show you all the books that I have. First one I have here is a very small cardboard book, and it's called Peter Rabbit. Most of you have probably heard of this story, and it's like a doorknob book. You can hang it by your kid's bedside or on a doorknob, but it's really cute. And then I have another one similar to this one, and it's called Benjamin Bunny. And I think this one is kind of goes along with Peter Rabbit. It's maybe a sequel or something. Yeah, I don't know. These are cute. Then I have this one. This is a really toddlerish book. It's called Bunny's Garden. It's like 5 pages in cardboard, but I thought I would include it in here. This one's cute. Then I have Mr. Rabbit and the Lovely Presents, The Velveteen Rabbit, The Whispering Rabbit, Home for a Bunny, and my favorite, Guess How Much I Love You. It's not really about rabbits, but there are rabbits in it. This one's really cute. I love this. So yeah, if you guys, I've said this before, but if you have any specific requests for a book you would like me to read, I more than likely have it in this huge, stack of books. Just let me know, and I will definitely read it for you. Okay, so we're gonna start with Peter Rabbit. And I'm going to read this in a little bit of a softer voice. Okay. Here's the first pictures. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. "Now, my dears," said old Mrs. Rabbit, "you may go down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden." Excuse me. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail went down the lane to gather blackberries, but Peter ran to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First he ate some lettuce and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes, and then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor ran after Peter, calling, "Stop, thief!" Peter was dreadfully frightened, for he had forgotten the way to the gate. He rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in, if it had not had so much water in it. Presently, Peter sneezed. Curdy shoo! Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. He tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. Mr. McGregor soon grew tired of running after Peter and went back to his work. Peter began to wander about. Presently, he came to a pond where a white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very still, but now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He went back towards the tool shed, and the first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. Peter started running as fast as he could go. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter slipped underneath the gate. He was safe at last. I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter, but Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. So, this was the first book, Peter Rabbit, by Beatrix Potter. So next up we have Benjamin Bunny. This one is by Beatrix Potter as well. He's rather cute. Okay. One morning, a little rabbit sat on a bank. He pricked his ears and listened to the trit-trot of a pony. A cart was coming along. I do not know what that just was. Okay. Sorry. A cart was coming along the road. It was driven by Mr. McGregor, and beside him sat Mrs. McGregor in her best bonnet. As soon as they had passed, little Benjamin Bunny set off to call upon his cousins, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter, who lived in the wood behind Mr. McGregor's garden. He came round a fir tree and nearly tumbled upon his cousin Peter, dressed in a red pocket handkerchief. "Peter," whispered little Benjamin, "who has got your clothes?" Peter replied, "The scarecrow in Mr. McGregor's garden," and described how he had been chased about the garden and had dropped his shoes and coat. Peter said he might feel better if he went for a walk. They went away hand in hand. They got upon the top of the wall and looked down. They saw Peter's clothes on the scarecrow. Little Benjamin said that they should get them back so that they might use the pocket handkerchief. Little Benjamin climbed down the pear tree, and Peter fell down head first. Then they took Peter's clothes off the scarecrow. Little Benjamin suggested that they fill the pocket handkerchief with onions, but Peter was not enjoying himself. He wanted to go home. They went upon a little walk towards the end of the garden. Peter was a step in front of his cousin when he suddenly stopped. This is what they saw around that corner. They took one look and hid themselves and the onions under a large basket. The cat came and sniffed. Perhaps she liked the smell of onions. She sat upon the top of the basket. She sat there for 5 hours. At length, the cat looked up and saw old Mr. Benjamin Bunny. He was looking for his son. Old Mr. Bunny took a tremendous jump onto the top of the cat and drove it into the greenhouse. Then he went back to the basket and took out his son Benjamin by the ears. Then he took out his nephew Peter and the handkerchief of onions and marched out of the garden. When Peter got home, his mother forgave him because she was so glad that he had found his shoes and coat. Cottontail and Peter folded up the pocket handkerchief, and old Mrs. Rabbit strung up the onions and hung them from the kitchen ceiling with bunches of herbs and rabbit tobacco. So, that's the end of that little series. So, the next one I have is Bunny's Garden. This one is rather juvenile. This is by Kate Gleason, her Little Beasties series. I used to love this book when I was little. Come into my garden where the grass is growing tall, and all along the fence fuzzy caterpillars crawl. Come into my garden where the sun is warm and bright, and high up in the wind we can fly a big red kite. Come into my garden where some peeping chicks abide, where we can find some secret spots our Easter eggs will hide. Come into my garden where we sniff sweet-smelling flowers and jump in muddy puddles left by gentle springtime showers. Come into my garden where the bluebirds chirp and sing, and in the trees squirrels chatter, "Hello, Easter, hello, spring." That was cute. And now we'll get into the bigger books. So this one is Mr. Rabbit and the Lovely Present by Charlotte Zolotow. Pictures by Maurice Sendak. Okay. So cool. Mr. Rabbit, said the little girl, "I want help." "Help, little girl. I'll give you help if I can," said Mr. Rabbit. "Mr. Rabbit," said the little girl, "it's about my mother." "Your mother," said Mr. Rabbit. "It's her birthday," said the little girl. "Happy birthday to her then," said Mr. Rabbit. "What are you giving her?" "That's just it," said the little girl. "That's why I want help. I have nothing to give her." "Nothing to give your mother on her birthday?" said Mr. Rabbit. "Little girl, you really do want help." "I would like to give her something that she likes," said the little girl. "Something that she likes is a good present," said Mr. Rabbit. "But what?" said the little girl. "Yes, what?" said Mr. Rabbit. "She likes red," said the little girl. "Red," said Mr. Rabbit. "You can't give her red." "Something red, maybe," said the little girl. "Oh, something red," said Mr. Rabbit. "What is red?" said the little girl. "Well," said Mr. Rabbit, "there's red underwear." "No," said the little girl, "I can't give her that." "There are red roofs," said Mr. Rabbit. "No, we have a roof," said the little girl. "I don't want to give her that." "There are red birds," said Mr. Rabbit. "Red cardinals." "No," said the little girl. "She likes birds in trees." "There are red fire engines," said Mr. Rabbit. "No," said the little girl. "She doesn't like fire engines." "Well," said Mr. Rabbit, "there are apples." "Good," said the little girl. "That's good. She likes apples. But I need something else too." "What else does she like?" said Mr. Rabbit. "Well, she likes yellow," said the little girl. "Yellow," said Mr. Rabbit. "You can't give her yellow." "Something yellow, maybe," said the little girl. "Oh, something yellow," said Mr. Rabbit. "What is yellow?" said the little girl. "Well," said Mr. Rabbit, "there are yellow taxi cabs." "I'm sure she doesn't want a taxi cab," said the little girl. "The sun is yellow," said Mr. Rabbit. "But I can't give her the sun," said the little girl, "though I would if I could." "A canary bird is yellow," said Mr. Rabbit. "She likes birds and trees," the little girl said. "That's right, you told me," said Mr. Rabbit. "Well, butter is yellow. Does she like butter?" "We have butter," said the little girl. "Bananas are yellow," said Mr. Rabbit. "Oh, good, that's good," said the little girl. "She likes bananas. I need something else, though." "What else does she like?" said Mr. Rabbit. She likes green, said the little girl. Green, said Mr. Rabbit. You can't give her green. Something green, maybe, said the little girl. Emeralds, said the rabbit. Emeralds make a lovely gift. I can't afford an emerald, said the little girl. Parrots are green, said Mr. Rabbit, but she likes birds and trees. No, said the little girl. Parrots won't do. Peas and spinach, said Mr. Rabbit. Peas are green, spinach is green. No, said the little girl. We have those for dinner all the time. Caterpillars, said Mr. Rabbit. Some of them are very green. She doesn't care for caterpillars, the little girl said. How about pears, said Mr. Rabbit. Bartlett pears. The very thing, said the little girl. That's the very thing. Now I have apples and bananas and pears, but I need something else. What else does she like, said Mr. Rabbit. She likes blue, the little girl said. Blue. You can't give her blue, said Mr. Rabbit. Something blue, maybe, said the little girl. Lakes are blue, said the rabbit. But I can't give her a lake, you know, said the little girl. Stars are blue. I can't give her stars, the little girl said, but I would if I could. Sapphires make a lovely gift, said Mr. Rabbit. But I can't afford sapphires either, said the little girl. Bluebirds are blue, but she likes birds and trees, said Mr. Rabbit. Right, said the little girl. How about blue grapes, said Mr. Rabbit. Yes, said the little girl. That is good, very good. She likes grapes. Now I have apples and pears and bananas and grapes. That makes a good gift, said Mr. Rabbit. All you need now is a basket. I have a basket, said the little girl. So she took her basket and she filled it with the green pears and the yellow bananas and the red apples and the blue grapes. It made a lovely present. Thank you for your help, Mr. Rabbit, said the little girl. Not at all, said Mr. Rabbit. Very glad to help. Goodbye now, said the little girl. Goodbye, said Mr. Rabbit, and a happy birthday and a happy basket of fruit to your mother. The end. So now I will read the last 4 books in a whispered voice, and I will do some of them up close for you guys. So let me scoot up a little bit, but not too far so that I can show you the picture still. So next I have the Velveteen Rabbit. Okay. This is by Marjorie Williams, and this book is illustrated by Judith Sutton. There was once a Velveteen Rabbit. In the beginning, he was really splendid. His coat was brown and white, and his ears were lined with pink sateen. On Christmas morning, he waited in the boy's stocking. For at least 2 hours, the boy loved him, and then in the excitement of looking at all the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time, the Velveteen Rabbit lived in the toy cupboard in the nursery. Some of the more expensive toys snubbed him. The mechanical toys were very superior and pretended they were real. Only the Skin Horse was kind to the Velveteen Rabbit. The Skin Horse was very wise and had lived longer in the nursery than any of the other toys. What is real? The rabbit asked the Skin Horse one day. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle? lasts for always. The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic thing called real happened to him. One evening, the boy couldn't find the toy dog that always slept with him. Nana gave him the Velveteen Rabbit instead. That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen Rabbit slept in the boy's bed. At first, the rabbit found it rather uncomfortable. Then he grew to like it, for the boy made nice tunnels for him under the bedclothes. The boy said they were like the burrows real rabbits lived in. When the boy dropped off to sleep, the rabbit would snuggle down and dream. So time went on. The little rabbit was so happy he never noticed how his velveteen fur was getting shabbier. His tail was coming unsewn, and the pink was rubbing off his nose. Once the rabbit was left out on the lawn until long after dusk. Nana had to go and look for him because the boy couldn't sleep. "Fancy all that fuss for a toy," said Nana. "He isn't a toy," the boy said. "He's real." When the little rabbit heard that, he was happy, for he knew that what the skin horse had said was true at last. He was real. The boy himself had said so. One summer evening, the rabbit saw two strange beings creep out of the woods. They were rabbits like himself. They must have been very well made, for their seams didn't show, and they changed shape when they moved. "Why don't you get up and play with us?" one of them asked. "I don't feel like it," said the Velveteen Rabbit. "Can you hop on your hind legs?" asked the other. "I don't want to," answered the Velveteen Rabbit. One of the rabbits came very close and sniffed. "He hasn't got any hind legs," the furry rabbit called out, "and he doesn't smell right. He isn't a rabbit at all. He isn't real." "I am real," said the little rabbit. "The boy said so." Just then the boy ran past. With a flash of white, the two strange rabbits disappeared. For a long time, the little rabbit sat still, hoping the two rabbits would come back, but they never returned. Then one day, the boy grew very ill. It was a long, weary time, for the boy was too ill to play. But the little rabbit snuggled down patiently and looked forward to the time when they would play like they used to. At last, the boy got better. The doctor ordered that all the toys the boy had played with be burned. So the little rabbit was carried out to the garden. He thought of the skin horse and all that he had said. Of what use was it to be loved and become real if it all ended like this? And a tear, a real tear, trickled down his nose and fell to the ground. Then a strange thing happened. Where the tear had fallen, a flower grew, and out of that flower stepped a fairy. She kissed the rabbit on his velveteen nose. "Little rabbit, don't you know who I am?" she asked. It seemed to the rabbit that he had seen her face before. "I am the nursery magic fairy," she said. "I take care of all the playthings that children have loved. When the children don't need them anymore, I turn them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the little rabbit. "You were real to the boy," the fairy said, "because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone." The fairy took the rabbit and flew to the woods. There, in a clearing, the wild rabbits danced, but when they saw the When the fairy had kissed him, she had changed him altogether. Just then, something tickled his nose, and he lifted his leg to scratch it. And he found that he actually had hind legs. Instead of velveteen, he had brown fur, and his ears twitched. The rabbit gave one leap, and his joy was so great, he went jumping sideways and whirling around as the others did. He was a real rabbit at last. In the spring, the boy went out to play. Two rabbits crept up and peeped at him. One of them had strange markings under his fur, as though long ago he had been stuffed. The boy thought, "Why, he looks just like my old bunny." But he never knew that it really was his own bunny, who had come back to look at the child who had first helped him to be real. So, that was a good little story. Next, I have The Whispering Rabbit. This is by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated by Cindy, I can't pronounce this, Seekiers. Once there was a sleepy little rabbit who began to yawn, and he yawned, and he yawned, and he yawned, and he yawned. He opened his little rabbit mouth when he yawned until you could see his white front teeth and his little round pink mouth, and he yawned until suddenly a bee flew into his mouth, and he swallowed the bee. "Hoo, hoo," said a big round owl. "Always keep your paw in front of your mouth when you yawn," hooted the owl. "Rabbits never do that," said the sleepy little rabbit. "Silly rabbits," said the owl, and he flew away. This is the perfect book for ASMR, The Whispering Rabbit. The little rabbit wanted to call after the owl. He opened his mouth to speak, but the bumblebee was curled up, asleep in his throat, and all the little rabbit could do was whisper. "What shall I do?" he whispered to a squirrel who wasn't sleeping. "Wake him up," said the squirrel. "Wake up the bumblebee." "How?" whispered the rabbit. "All I can do is whisper, and I'm sleepy and I want to go to sleep, but who can sleep with the bumblebee?" Suddenly, a wise old groundhog popped up out of the ground. "All I can do is whisper," said the little rabbit. "All the better," said the groundhog. "Come here, little rabbit, and I will whisper to you how to wake up a bumblebee. You have to make the littlest noise that you can possibly make, because a bumblebee doesn't bother about big noises. He's a very little bee, and he's only interested in little noises." "Like a loud whisper?" asked the rabbit. "Too loud," said the groundhog, and he popped back into his hole. "A little noise," whispered the rabbit, and he started making little rabbit noises. He made a noise as quiet as the sound of a bird's wing cutting the air, but the bee didn't wake up. So a little rabbit made the sound of snow falling, but the bee didn't wake up. So the little rabbit made the sound of a bug breathing, and a fly sneezing, and grass rustling, and a firefighter thinking. Still, the bee did not wake up. sat and thought of all the little sounds he could think of. What could they be? A sound quiet as snow melting, quiet as a flower growing, quiet as an egg resting in its shell, quiet as... And suddenly he knew the little noise that he would make, and he made it. It was a little click made hundreds of miles away by a bumblebee in an apple tree in full bloom on a mountaintop. It was the very small click of a bee swallowing some honey from an apple blossom. And at that, the bee woke up. He thought he was missing something, and away he flew. And then, what did the little rabbit do? That sleepy, sleepy little rabbit. He closed his mouth, he closed his eyes, he closed his ears, and he tucked in his paws, and twitched his nose, and he went sound to sleep. This was one of my favorite books as a child. Okay, so we have two more. This one is called Home for a Bunny. This is by Margaret Wise Brown, and the pictures are by Garth Williams. Spring, 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 said the frog. Spring, said the groundhog. Spring, 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 said the robin. It was spring. The leaves burst out, the flowers burst out, and robins burst out of their eggs. It was spring. In the spring, a bunny came down the road. He was going to find a home of his own. A home for a bunny, a home of his own. Under a rock, under a stone, under a log, or under the ground. Where would a bunny find a home? Where is your home? He asked the robin. Here, 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 sang the robin. Here in this nest is my home. Here, 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 sang the little robins, who were about to fall out of the nest. Here is our home. Not for me, said the bunny. I would fall out of a nest. I would fall on the ground. So he went on, looking for a home. Where is your home? He asked the frog. Walk, 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 said the frog. Walk, 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 under the water, down in the bog. Not for me, said the bunny. Under the water, I would drown in a bog. So he went on looking for a home. Where do you live? He asked the groundhog. In a log, said the groundhog. Can I come in? Said the bunny. No, you can't come in my log, said the groundhog. his own, a home for a bunny, a home of his own. Under a rock, or a log, or a stone, where would a bunny find a home? Down the road, and down the road, and down the road he went until he met a bunny. Where is your home? He asked the bunny. Here, said the bunny, here is my home, under this rock, under this stone, down under the ground, here is my home. Can I come in? Said the bunny. Yes, said the bunny, and so he did. And that was his home. So, the last book, my favorite, Guess How Much I Love You. This is by Sam McBratney, illustrated by Anita Jerem. I love the smell. It reminds me of my childhood. Little Nut Brown Hare, who was going to bed, held on tight to Big Nut Brown Hare's very long ears. He wanted to be sure that Big Nut Brown Hare was listening. Guess how much I love you, he said. Oh, I don't think I could guess that, said Big Nut Brown Hare. This much, said Little Nut Brown Hare, stretching out his arms as wide as they could go. Big Nut Brown Hare had even longer arms. But I love you this much, he said. That is a lot, thought Little Nut Brown Hare. I love you as high as I can reach, said Little Nut Brown Hare. I love you as high as I can reach, said Big Nut Brown Hare. That is very high, thought Little Nut Brown Hare. I wish I had arms like that. Then Little Nut Brown Hare had a very good idea. He tumbled upside down and reached up the tree trunk with his feet. I love you all the way up to my toes, he said. big nut brownie.